Welcome to Dodgers Daily. I'm Casey Porter. I'm so glad that you decided to tune in. Hey, although Oklahoma City and Tulsa lost last night, which me being located in Oklahoma, that's never a good thing. I'm going to go ahead and say this was absolutely my favorite day of the year. Hey, the four rookies, Outman, Busch, Sheehan, and Grove, they were fantastic. Probably the number one reason why the Dodgers won the game last night. You beat the Astros. Jose Altuve grounded into a double play off of michaelgrove. Emmetsheehan was fantastic. Jamesoutman, he was the dynamic player that we've all come to grow and love. And michaelbusch, he was clutch. I've talked about michaelbusch. He needs 300 Major League at-bats. If he does, he'll be one of the best hitters on the team. They were all absolutely fantastic. So I can honestly say last night was my favorite day of the year at the Los Angeles level. Certainly not my favorite day of the year at the minor league level because, again, Oklahoma City and Tulsa lost. But for Los Angeles, hey, man, that was just for a guy like me that gets to cover these guys and watches them so closely. Last night was unbelievable. So, hey, we have a lot to talk to. And again, Great Lakes won their game. So did Rancho Cucamonga. We have a lot to talk about, I should say. But before we do, just a reminder, if you'd like to help Dodgers Daily by donating, we have a GoFundMe account, and the link to that is in the description. Also, if you like this video, keep leaving comments and keep interacting with it, and make sure you have your notifications turned on so you'll be notified every time Dodgers Daily releases a new video. Okay, so we have a lot to get to. Like I said, 2-2 in the minor league system. Just an unbelievably great day as a prospect coverer at the Los Angeles level. So let's not waste more time. Let's get right to it, and let's talk Dodgers baseball. So the Dodgers are 42-33 right now. 3 games back of Arizona, but the really good thing about that is only 2 games back in the loss column. So really you have control over all but those 2 games that you're back in the loss column, because if you win all of your games that you're supposed to, then you're just 2 games back at that point. And I've talked about it with this schedule. Hey, by the time the calendar flips to July, let's get on a roll and let's be, say, hey, within 1 game of Arizona, maybe even tied. And if you get hot, maybe have a lead back by the All-Star break. If you do that, you're in great shape, because I'm telling you right now, the San Francisco Giants, they are not going to play. Good team, don't get me wrong. They're not going to fall apart, but they're not going to play like this the rest of the year. They have won 9 out of their last 10 games, and they're just a half a game ahead of the Dodgers as of right now. So the San Francisco Giants aren't going to keep playing at that clip, with the Dodgers being right there even with them. I think that's pretty safe to say the Dodgers will finish ahead of San Francisco if the Dodgers do what they're supposed to do and kind of define roles, get in a groove, and start playing the way that they're totally capable of. Let me start this show by saying, when you have a bunch of rookies like Emmetsheehan and then michaelgrove pitching, okay, to have a shortstop like miguelrojas is a huge factor. I cannot tell you that play that he made for michaelgrove to start, what was it, the 8th inning, where he made that very strong throw and just got things started. I can't tell you how much. Now, I know he went to his left that one time and shuffled a couple times and allowed an infield base hit when Sheehan was pitching, but I cannot tell you how big of a factor both the leadership and then the defense and just the grittiness and toughness that's playing behind these rookies with miguelrojas. Hey, man, do not overlook how valuable that is to this team. It is just fantastic. It breathes confidence into these young guys. And I'll say another thing, the 4 rookies I talked about, and jonnydeluca, you can throw in as well, has looked good at his time up at the major league level. When they all get to play together, when Jamesoutman gets to look around the dugout and stand next to michaelbusch and stand next to michaelgrove and then look around and go, hey, I'm the veteran rookie here. I'm actually the guy that's mentoring some of these other rookies as to what this major league experience is like. That is a comforting feeling. That makes the rookies comfortable versus, hey, just kind of being out on an island by yourself. And you look to your left and you have Mookie Betts. You look on the infield and, or you look in the lineup and you have J.D. Martinez. You look in the infield and have Freddie Freeman and Chris Taylor and Will Smith. It can be a situation, not intimidating. There's no intimidating situation for a guy like Outman, but it is a much more comfortable setting whenever you have all of your buddies there with you, man. I mean, I'm telling you, these guys are buddies. They grow up together. They spend more time with their teammates than they do their family. They grow up together in this minor league system. The Dodgers are big on that. They create their culture. So when you get to put them all together, you get to get michaelbusch and jamesoutman back together and Miguel Vargas on the same team. And then emmetsheehan gets to come in and pitch in a game to where you have jamesoutman in center field, you have michaelbusch at third base, and michaelgrove's coming in behind you. You have guys that have similar experiences at that moment where your feet are at that moment. And I'm telling you, that plays a factor as far as becoming comfortable. So super proud of the 4 rookies last night. Super proud of jonnydeluca and the job that he has done. jamesoutman, three big hits, and don't forget the stolen base that led to the RBI base hit that he scored. So jamesoutman, not just 3 hits, he had a stolen base, and he scored twice. That's the type of dynamic offensive player the Dodgers have desperately been needing the last couple of years. That's the type of dynamic offensive player jamesoutman can be. I love the fact, and I've said this on my podcast a couple of times already, I love the fact that Outman said, hey, the results weren't there, but I really felt like I started turning things around a couple of weeks ago and having better at-bats. Totally agree. I've mentioned that a couple of times. Starting to see the results now. Hey, don't want to jinx them, so let's not go any further than that. I am superstitious. I do believe in the baseball gods, so let's not brag on jamesoutman too much. Let's leave it right there, and let's keep him hungry, and let's keep him in a good groove. How about emmetsheehan? We're going to have a complete breakdown of him, and we're going to talk about his entire performance. I have an entire video segment of both him and michaelgrove that we're going to have there. 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, and his fastball was explosive. Didn't throw his changeup very much last night. That's very good. Threw a slider more, which, that's different for him, but it was effective, although the slider got hit for a home run, but so did the changeup. The good thing about that is fastball has yet to be hurt. The 2 home runs, like I said, were both on secondary pitches, and 1 on a slider and 1 on a changeup. Okay, what more can you say about the bullpen? A bullpen that, 2 shows ago I was talking about was the second to worst in all the major leagues. Well, then you have the bullpen game going up against Shohei Ohtani, and you're like, oh man, this just smells disaster. But in baseball, it seems like when all the plans are laid right, that's when things go wrong. And it seems like when your back's up against the wall and nothing's going right, that's when you scratch and claw and maybe come up with your best performances. So since that show, where we talked about the bullpen being the second to worst, the bullpen has gone 17 1/3 scoreless innings. And I tell you what, it hasn't just been addition by subtraction. I talked about part of making your bullpen better is reducing the amount of guys that you use and only using the guys you trust. Well, last night, man, michaelgrove comes in and throws 2 innings, and I can tell you right now, I was sweating bullets at second inning. After he threw the clean 1 inning, I'm thinking, hey, Caleb Ferguson and then Evan Phillips, and let's go to the house. michaelgrove's going to feel good about it. So when they sent Grover out there for that second inning, hey, I have total confidence, but it just seems like if anything could go wrong for Grove, it has this year. So sweating bullets, and then he gets the big first out with Rojas, then he walks the guy. He makes a couple of just kind of hanger pitches that he gets away with, and then he gets the big double play on Altuve. Totally pumped up. I'm still pumped up about it. That was absolutely awesome. Okay, and then the bottom of the lineup. To be a good offense, you got to be able to score all the way through your lineup. Well, how about the bottom lineup last night? miguelrojas, man, this dude is quickly, I didn't know a whole lot about him. Honestly, I knew about him, knew him when he was with the Dodgers the first time around, but didn't really keep track of him between then and now. I can tell you, watching him, he has quickly turned into, if not my entirely favorite player on the team, certainly one of them that is up there. I just love his game. I love his competitive grit. I love his competitive element. I love how hard he plays. He just plays the game of baseball properly. It seems like when he gets a hit, they're all big hits, and he's been playing very good offense as well. So the bottom of the lineup, try this on for size. 6 for 8, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored, and a huge stolen base last night. Michaelbusch had the big RBI as well, and that stolen base set up the go-ahead run by Jamesoutman. So that was fantastic. So, hey, those are some of my thoughts on last night's game. It was absolutely fantastic. What we're going to do for the rest of the Los Angeles Dodgers segment, we're going to break down Emmett Sheehan, and then we're going to break down Michael Grove. So I hope you enjoy it. So at this point, Emmett Sheehan had given up 2 runs, both on home runs, but both on their secondary pitches. And I want you to notice what the organization did. Mark Pryor, Will Smith, they did with Emmett Sheehan in this next inning. Look at that fastball, that riding and running fastball is boring in on the hands of Jeremy Pena at 95 miles an hour. And then that 4-slot fastball. Those were the 2 key pitches in this inning. Okay, so what the Dodgers did is they simplified things for Emmett Sheehan. As we go on, you're going to see 4-seam fastballs and sliders. You're going to see the 4-seam at the top of the zone. You're going to see it to the 4-slot, which is the outer half to the glove side. And then usually it's low, but hey, outer half is good enough when your stuff is as good as Emmett Sheehan, and we'll see here in a minute. And the big deal about that 4-slot fastball, that was a 4-slot fastball there that had so much run. Let me back this up. He's actually trying to hit the low and away corner to a right-hander with that pitch, but it has so much run to it, it acts like a 2-seam. I talk about that all the time. So again, look, if you watch, he's trying to throw to that 4-slot, run back over the zone. Okay, so you're trying to throw a 4-slot fastball, a 4-seam up in the zone, and let me back this one up again. The reason why that 4-slot fastball is such a big deal, that one right here, watch this next pitch, this slider. See how it starts in that same tunnel, and then it breaks away. So let me back these up again so you can see both of these pitches. There is the right turn to the 4-seam starting in the same location, and then same location, left turn, and see you later. I mean, there's no way you can hit that pitch. That is a fantastic sequence. There's another tunnel off that fastball. Rojas needs to get rid of that ball and make that play. So, and then you see that the 4-seam up, and then there's a get me over slider. So what they did is they simplified. They said, hey, we're gonna throw riding 4-seams up in the zone. We're gonna throw 4-slot fastballs. There's another 4-slot fastball. Something that the Dodgers do. There's a 4-slot fastball again, and because it has so much run to it, it wasn't able to get all of that baseball and get it on the barrel. There's another slider that's tunneled off of that same 4-slot fastball. Yet another slider that's tunneled again. So simplify it. Riding 4-seams, 4-slot fastball, something, let me replay this, something that the Dodgers minor league pitchers do all of the time. That is the one, if you want to call it 2 sequence, it's fine, that the Dodgers minor leaguers throw all the time is the riding 4-seam top of the zone, then the 4-slot fastball, then tunnel the slider off of the 4-seam fastball, tunnel the changeup off the riding 4-seam, but he didn't throw any changeups in this inning. So they went back to what Emmett Sheehan had done a million different times at the major league level. That put him in a comfort zone. That put him in a situation to where all he had to do is just throw like he always has in the last year or two in the organization. Certainly it made him comfortable, and it put him in a position to absolutely execute. This is Mark Pryor, this is Will Smith doing their homework and knowing exactly what Emmett Sheehan does well, like they did Bobby Miller the other night, and going back to after he'd given up the couple of home runs, what they know he can execute, letting him pitch his game instead of pitching to a specific scouting report. He got comfortable again. He started executing, and when Emmett Sheehan executes, his stuff is good enough. It doesn't matter what the scouting report is. His stuff is good enough to get outs, as evidenced by the fact that he did not give up a run for the rest of the night. So what I really like about what they did with Michael Grove, first of all, they moved him to the pen. But watch this. I'm going to back this up just a minute. Look at this curveball. Curveball has always been the pitch that, as far as secondary pitches go, I'm going to back it up one more time. It's big, and it's loopy, and it breaks a lot. And he's always had a tremendous amount of confidence, not only not to get hit, but to actually be able to throw it for a strike. So I love the fact that, hey, they put him in relief. Coming in relief, he had never done it before. Going to back it up one more time so you can see it. Let him throw the pitch that he's the most comfortable with, that is the least likely to get ambushed. and then pair that with that four-seam fastball that is 96 up in the zone. I thought that was just absolutely brilliant how they had michaelgrove not only work backwards. There you see another first pitch curveball. He is so confident in that pitch, and there's that slider. It's just like his curveball, same shape, just has a smaller break to it, and the reason why he needs that slider right there, again, that's exactly like his curveball, just a smaller break, and the reason why that is so good is because, again, it gives him something to play off of his fastball. So michaelgrove, you can see they got him comfortable with his curveball. You know, a lot of times in the major leagues, it's one thing to know, hey, is my stuff good enough to get outs at this level? That's the first level of confidence, you know, to say, hey, if I do what I'm supposed to do and I make pitches like I'm capable, that's a great pitch right there to end the inning. There is a slider to start the second inning. Can I still get outs? It's another to say the next level of confidence that Grove maybe reached last night is, hey, even if I don't make a perfect pitch, even if I maybe make a mistake with some of my stuff, can I still get outs when I do that? So far, Grove has not been able to do that. There's a mistake. There's a hanger right there. This should give michaelgrove confidence. You've seen two mistakes in a row. You can tell he knows he made two mistake pitches. Watch how now he pulls the slider, and then he hangs another slider right there. But he pulls the slider because he knows he made two mistakes, and he got away with them. And then there is a good breaking ball right there. I'm going to back that up. That looks like a hanger, but what I want to show you again, I'm going to fast forward this to Altuve. Okay, let me back this up just a touch, see if I can get right to it. Look where, let me see if I can stop it right there. Okay, see how high that starts? That starts above Will Smith's helmet, and then look where it ends. Okay, so that ends on the inner half. It has a little bit of arm side movement, and it has a lot of drop to it. So although that gives the appearance of being in the middle of the zone, that's a lot of vertical break to try to hit as a hitter, and that's why Jose Altuve rolled over the top of it. So I'm going to roll through this one more time with michaelgrove. Again, what you're going to see, start off the first two hitters, first pitch curveballs. That is absolutely brilliant because he's comfortable with that pitch, and then ride that four seam in on the hands. That is just a great combination. Great execution by michaelgrove. Right now he's thinking, hey, if I execute, I get outs, right? There's another first pitch curveball, which his stuff is good enough to do. Now he's into that slider, throwing that good tight slider. Good play by miguelrojas. I thought the defense from Rojas was key. There's the best pitch of the night for michaelgrove. Just buries the slider on the outer half into the bottom of the zone. Another really good slider. So like I said, right now, he's executing. He's making great pitches, and he's getting out. So that's level one for confidence. Level two for confidence, like I said, is going to be the second inning where he actually did make a couple of mistakes. Then he did, pull a couple of sliders. He walked a guy and still got away with all of it and got out of the inning. So I think michaelgrove right here, there's a good slider to start off. That's a great play by miguelrojas, and a play that michaelgrove absolutely needs to be made behind him. So that's just great. So, good fastball down the zone. So I think michaelgrove, more than just looking at, hey, I finally went 2 innings without giving up a run. I finally went a complete outing, that was totally successful. I've said it many different times. He's always been a lot closer than you think. It's just been, less than a handful of pitches a game that have, of course, they all matter, that have got to him, but other than that, he's been fantastic around those handful of mistake pitches, but it just seems like every mistake he's made has gotten hit, and he's gotten, hit for a home run, of which last night that didn't happen. So that should be a confidence builder. And hey, if michaelgrove can pitch like he did last night, be a multiple inning guy, be a guy that can come in and run it up there 97, 98 with a big breaking ball and a slider to play off of that, and can pitch backwards, that is a weapon out of the bullpen. The AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers wasn't a whole lot to talk about. As a matter of fact, we're only going to get to one highlight, and that is of Devin Mann. You're seeing him right here hitting a league-leading 25th double of the season. Devin Mann has been absolutely on a tear. He had 2 hits last night, has his average up to 316, his OPS at 997. Devin Mann absolutely is vying for major league time at the major league level. He can play every single position. He's a wonderful young man. He's another one of those rookies that would fit right into the culture and the dugout and the clubhouse of the Dodgers, and he would do just whatever the team needed him to do. Kind of what michaelgrove is getting ready to do at the pitcher spot, Devin Mann could do that from a position player spot as well. Drew Avens went 1 for 4 last night. Ryan Ward, he had a triple. He went 1 for 2. And then, hey, David Freitas had a hit as well. Drew Avens actually hit his 10th home run of the season. Pitching-wise last night, hey, Gavin Stone, he had, a really good first 4 innings, but then the last 2 innings went a little bit sideways on him. He gave up 5. And then Jimmy Nelson pitched, and then Keegan Curtis, they both gave up 1 run in their performances. But again, Oklahoma City, they lost 7-2 to drop to 49-22 on the season, still chasing that first half title. AA Tulsa Drillers, they lost 5-4 last night. A good crowd in beautiful downtown Tulsa. One Oak Field in Drillville. Kylehurt got the start last night. He dropped to 2-3. Hey, good outing for him though. 4 2/3 inning. We'll get into more of him here in a minute. Tanner Dodson also pitched and gave up a run in 1 3/3 innings. We'll get to Antonioknowles, 1 inning strong. Trevor Betancourt gave up a couple of runs, and then Jake Pilarski finished it last night. So the pitching pretty good last night for the Tulsa Drillers, but they lost 5-4 to drop to 41-26. Still chasing that first half title. Kylehurt, who you're seeing right here, set a season-high 11 strikeouts, and he set also a season-high in innings pitched at 4.2 innings last night. I've told you they are very careful with their minor league arms at the minor league level. Kylehurt, a young man out of USC. I have a chance to communicate with his dad every now and then. His grandpa played at in the National Football League, and his dad played at Ole Miss, and they are both absolutely huge human beings. Kylehurt, you can see right there, has a really great frame to pitch. He went to the University of Southern California, so very, very, very talented young man. If there's ever a young man that has a pedigree for success, it is him. His dad is just very well grounded. He is actually, I believe, a football coach still, and I think he's a PE teacher. Don't quote me on that, but I think he's a PE teacher in the San Diego area. Just wonderful people. Typical Dodgers. Very, very, very talented. Very well successed, but yet so very humble and so very kind. That is Kylehurt and his family to a T. Okay, and he also set a career high in pitches at 69. So a career high in strikeouts, a career high in innings pitched, and then a career high in pitches as well. And boy, I'll tell you what, Kylehurt, his changeup was absolutely fantastic last night. And another thing about him, he is so competitive. The dad with the football background, the grandpa who played in the NFL. You're talking about adrenaline, competitive energy. And sometimes in baseball that actually works against you. That sometimes as a mound presence, it's better just to kind of not drop your adrenaline or drop your energy, but to drop your emotions and to not hyperventilate and just kind of take a deep breath and relax a minute and just kind of settle yourself down. That's a hard thing to do for a guy that's as competitive as Kylehurt and a guy who's had so much success. Hey, I think he's played like 12 different sports, including lacrosse, and he's been just absolutely fantastic at all of them. So to get to settle down, have the mound presence to be able to execute, that is always something that is the hardest thing to learn in the minor leagues. And I'll tell you what, from that perspective, in my opinion, Kylehurt is absolutely coming into his own, just moving on from one pitch to the next and continuing to execute and just having a great presence on the mound, and that's allowed him, in my opinion, too, to land his off-speed pitches, which we know when he hits 99, if he can also land off-speed pitches with it, it's going to be a bad night for the hitters. The Drillers only had 8 hits last night and 4 runs. Jose Ramos, who you're here, just destroyed this pitch. That was a home run. He had 2 hits last night. We'll get into more of him in a minute. Yorbit Vivas, we'll talk about him as well. He had a couple of base knocks. Cody Hosey had a base hit, and then Carson Taylor had a pinch hit as well. And Austin Gauthier also had a base hit and an RBI for the AA Tulsa Drillers, who you're seeing right here. Jose Ramos, boy, what power he has. Home run number 14, Kapow. Good night, see you later. We have liftoff for Jose Ramos. That puts him all by himself in 3rd place in the Texas League, the league that the Drillers play in, for the most amount of home runs at 14, and it also ties in with his teammate Emmanuel Vargas for the team lead. Ramos also is pairing all that power with a 272 average. Super excited. Going to go watch them play tonight, courtesy of tickets from Braden Fisher. So super excited about that. Thank you so much to him for getting tickets tonight. Ramos hitting .272, OPS 830. I've talked about it many different times. He's letting the ball get a little bit deeper. He's thinking the big part of the field. And when he's a little bit early like this, then he goes ahead and pulls it, and he's able to still get the lift and hit home runs, as the 14 home runs would suggest. So, hey, 2020, he's going to hit 20 home runs. Can he get to 20 in stolen bases? I'd like to see that. I really, really like this swing. Look how powerful, but yet compact, quick, not a whole lot to go wrong with it. That is a one hopper onto Elgin Street. That is Elgin Street that runs there north and south, right there behind the right field of One Oak Field. I just absolutely love this short compact swing of Yorbit Vivas. He can play second base, he can play third base, and he just destroyed. This is his 8th home run of the year, one hopped. Again, like I said, Elgin Street, 301 on the year average, OPS 870. Yorbit Vivas is coming to his own. We've always known him and Eddie's Leonard, extremely, extremely talented. I love the fact that the organization has brought those two up together so they can play up the middle. Kind of like Alan Trammell and Lou Whitaker. I'm dating myself, I know. But when you get to play together with your middle infield partner that much, you get to know where everybody's at, kind of like two linebackers. And you just start knowing where everybody's going to be at on the field at all times. And you have a comfort level that makes both of you better. And I think we're seeing that at the AA Tulsa level this year. Yorbit Vivas having a wonderful offensive year, 301, OPS 870. The Great Lakes Loons had a very exciting game last night. Hey, this is video courtesy of Austin Brubaker. How awesome is that? Thank you so much, Austin. Follow him at Austin Brew. That's AUSTIN. Let me go ahead and replay that. AUSTINBRU99. Okay, that's on Twitter. Go ahead and follow him. He has lots and lots of video of the Loons. It is absolutely fantastic. Hey, this is Kendall Williams, who went 4 innings last night, had a really good split finger fastball working. There's a good fastball for him. And he had a strikeout in 4 innings last night, gave up just 5 hits and just 1 run. This was Kendall's just 3rd appearance of the year. The young man that got traded over from the Blue Jays in the actual Ryan Noda trade as well. So he came over with Ryan Noda in that trade just a couple of years ago. And so he's been on the injured list, just his 3rd outing of the season. Young man that came from Olive Branch, Mississippi, and then moved to the IMG Academy while he was in high school, then got drafted out of high school by the Blue Jays, got traded over to the Dodgers. I do have an interview with him. Awesome interview. Wonderful young man. If you want to check that out on my YouTube page. And hey, a big, tall guy, fits the metrics. Not a guy that throws it necessarily 100 miles an hour, but very unique, kind of like very Tony Gonsolin-ish. Hey, he's going to sneak that fastball at 94, 95, maybe 96 every now and then, and it's going to look a lot faster because that split change that he throws, his splitter does profile as a changeup. Plays very well off of the fastball and makes the fastball look a lot faster. So if you want to kind of give a comp of Kendall Williams, just think Tony Gonsolin, as far as the pitch mix and the way it looks. So Kendall Williams, welcome back. Great to have you for your 3rd outing. And what wonderful video, again, provided by Austin Brubaker on the night. Pitching wise, Jack Dreyer also came in and pitched. He gave up a couple of runs in an inning. Adolfo Ramirez gave up 3 earned runs in 1 2/3 innings. We're going to get to Michaelhobbs and Benonyrobles. Michaelhobbs, I tell you what, he's nasty. Austin got to see that for himself, and then Benonyrobles got to save, so we'll talk all about them. Boy, nobody's been hotter than Luis Diaz, man. This guy is out of his mind, and last night was a good offensive night for the Great Lakes Loons. They racked up 11 hits and 8 runs. Chris Newell had a hit. Luis Diaz, who you're seeing right here, had 3 hits on the night. 2 hits for Alex Freeland, 1 base knock for Griffin Lockwood Powell, who had his 11th double of the season. Tayloryoung had a couple of base hits as well, and then Frank Rodriguez, F-Rod, we're going to get to him as well. He had a couple base knocks as well. So again, 11 hits in total, 8 runs, 7 RBIs. So a good night and the 8-6 victory for the Great Lakes Loons, who now moved to 46-20. Again, congratulations on the greatest first half record in the history of the franchise of Great Lakes. That's absolutely Fantastic. So Luis Diaz, hey, another 3-hit game for the Great Lakes Loons, which is his third 3-hit game in a row. How about that? It's his fourth 3-hit game just of this month of June, and he has 9 multi-hit games since May 19th, and he has raised his average. Luis Diaz has 189 points since May 14th. Like I said, nobody has been as hot as Luis Diaz, that is for sure. My man Taylor Young, the young man out of West Monroe, Louisiana. He went to Louisiana Tech, a guy who's always been told that he is too small to make it. Well, hey, he's been doing nothing but proving people wrong ever since. He has just basically been playing baseball. A really cool story about him. Got a chance to talk to him. Okay, so they had a tornado that came through and tore down their old facility there at Louisiana Tech. So they rebuilt their baseball field, and it was rebuilt, called Love Field. So they actually call it the Love Shack. Okay, the Love Shack. And Taylor Young, last summer, right after he got drafted, okay, he took his girlfriend out to the Love Shack. He told her, hey, I just want to go to the Love Shack one more time. After their season was over, they got beat out by the University of Texas. He had a very good regional, by the way, hit a couple of home runs. So he took his girlfriend at the time, and he took her out to shortstop. He said, hey, I just want to go out to shortstop one more time at the Love Shack. And as they were going out to shortstop, behind right field, there's a train. Okay, the train comes by, and the train whistles a horn at him as they're walking out. He gets out to shortstop, and he proposes to his now fiance. So what a great story. The Love Shack actually was the Love Shack that day for Taylor Young. So wonderful young man. He has one of the highest baseball IQs, the all-time hits leader at Louisiana Tech. And hey, he's getting hot, and he's just getting started. He had 2 hits last night, 2 ribeye steaks for the Loons, and he has hits in 4 games in a row and has multi-hit games in 2 of his last 5. So great job, Taylor Young. Here's a really good look at switch hitting shortstop Alex Freeland. Look how powerful that swing. Look how deep. I'm going to back that up. Matter of fact, I think it'll replay here in just a second. What I want you to notice is watch how deep he allows this ball to get. See if I can pause it right there. Okay, see how deep that ball is? Now, his time, and what I also want you to notice is watch how flat his barrel comes through the zone. If I can back that up and stop that. Okay, let me back that up just a touch. Okay, watch out. Okay, flat right there. See how flat his barrel is? Now watch how flat it is right there. That is just absolutely elite. And then look how balanced. Look at his head slotted with his back knee, his back foot. His head is slotted absolutely perfectly in the middle of his body. And if you look at his bat angle right here, here's his bat right there. Look how flat that is. And then also look how flat it comes through the zone. That is elite baseball mechanics. That is why when you combine that with the amount of talent he has, that's why I'm so high on Alex Freeland, because this young man absolutely has the hit tool, switch hitting, and he lets the ball get deep. He has the timing part of it, and he has the talent. So Alex Freeland, another multi-hit game for Great Lakes. That's his second in his last 3. It's his 6th since June 10th, and he has raised his average 50 points since May 20th. So good to see Alex Freeland reaching his potential and playing great offense for the Great Lakes Loons. Frank Rodriguez, I mentioned on the last podcast how simple his swing is, and we'll go ahead and analyze that here. He had 2 hits, and that's his second consecutive 2-hit game, and Rodriguez F-Rod has hits in 5 of his last 6. Let me go ahead and rewind this and kind of show you why I talk about his swing being so simple. Watch his hands right here. Hands, they don't move a whole lot, okay? So watch, he doesn't load with his hands a whole lot, and then as his hands come to the ball, look how direct that path is. Right here, watch his hands. Right there, right to the ball. That's as simple as you can possibly make a swing in terms of your hands. A lot of guys like to slot that barrel. They like to drop the barrel back here, and they like to come around like this. Not Frank Rodriguez. This is old school, direct, point A. It's called linear hitting. It's point A to point B hitting, and he kind of hits down through the ball, which if there's one thing I would change from right here through the ball, I would flatten that out instead of him hitting down at the ball. I think that would make him more consistent. But that's why I say, hey, Frank Rodriguez, very simple, very old school, very linear point A to point B swing. And that's why, hey, there's not a whole lot of things that can go wrong with his swing. So good to see Frank Rodriguez playing good offense. So Austin, who's taking this video, we were communicating back and forth on Twitter last night, and one of the first messages he sent was, hey, I did not realize how dirty, look at that pitch. I'm going to back that up so you can see it again. I did not realize just how dirty his breaking ball is. Watch this. Boom. That is a slider. It plays kind of as a hybrid between a slider and a curveball because it has such great depth. What he'll say is it gets a little bit depthy. Yes, that breaking ball is an elite pitch for Michaelhobbs. Look at that pitch. That is just absolutely dirty. And that's a pitch that actually landed in the middle of the zone. So it's kind of, as far as location, in a hanging spot. But because it is just so dirty, it just freezes the hitter. So, that was the first thing that Austin noticed was, and then you pair that with that four-seam fastball right there that you saw have a little bit of cut to it. In college, he kind of went back and forth between a two-seam and a four-seam. He was the all-time saves leader at St. Mary's. And so because of that, he kind of gets a little bit of cut sometimes on that four-seam like you just saw a minute ago, and he pairs that with just that absolutely dirty and devastating breaking ball. So, hey, a lot to offer for the steal of the 2021 draft, Michaelhobbs, who recorded his second win of the season, and Hobbs has gone scoreless in 3 outings in a row and 7 of his last 8. Like I always say about him, give him the damn ball when it matters and get out of his way and let him do his work. Austin also brought up a great point about Benonyrobles, who you're seeing here. Hey, the Loons have started using him a lot in high leverage situations, and why not? When you're 6'5" and you're left-handed and you have a slingshot like he does, I mean, look how this thing just whips the ball to home plate. That's a whip right there. Kind of that, that Dontrell Willis type look to him, or Aldous Chapman maybe. Obviously not the 102-mile-an-hour velo. And then you have that sweeping slider that you just saw right there. Why not use him in high leverage situations? And he has absolutely responded. Last night he got his 5th save of the season, and Robles has gone scoreless in 5 in a row in 10 of his last 11. So, hey, this is a young man kind of like Christian Suarez. When he is in the strike zone, he is very, very, very hard to hit because he has such great vertical drop to his pitches because he's so tall. And if I back this up just a minute, let me go ahead and show you. Look out right there. If I can back it up just a second. Okay, I want you to see just how high out of his hand this ball gets released. If I can back it up just right there. Right there. Okay, look how high that ball comes out of his hand. That pitch is, that is over the hitter's head right now as it comes up. And that's a fastball, and that drops all the way down to the belt of the hitter. So even in a situation to where he's throwing a pitch at the top of the zone, that pitch has so much vertical drop that is an incredibly tough pitch to hit for a hitter. That's why the Dodgers are so high on this guy. That's why they've been using him so much in high leverage, combined with that sweeping slider, and that's why he's been able to perform and produce. As long as he keeps the ball in the strike zone, he has a lot of margin for error. Benonyrobles. Peter Hubeck has put back-to-back great performances together for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. Last night he went 5 innings, scoreless. He had 6 strikeouts and 2 walks, gave up just 1 hit. What a fantastic job by Peter Hubeck. David Tiburcio also had a couple of scoreless innings, and then Kelvin Bautista finished the game scoreless as well in 1 inning. On the evening for the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes, offensively, Kyle Nevin, he had a hit. He was 1 for 3. Also was on base twice. Josue De Paula, he had a couple of base hits and a walk. So Josue De Paula was on base 3 times. And, I've talked about him. He's such a huge prospect. Gives kind of off that Bernie Williams vibe for me. So Josue De Paula, good to see him have a good night last night. Jorge Puerta, he went 1 for 4. And then Rain Doncone, he played third base last night. Can play shortstop, can play basically anywhere. Good night for him. He went 2 for 4, had a couple of base hits and an RBI. And then Dayton Dooney also had a hit. And then Jose Izada, he had a good night offensively, had a couple of hits and a couple of RBIs as well. So, hey, Rancho Cucamonga, they won 4-0. Pete Hubeck, his second great outing in a row. The Quakes now are 40-27 on the season. So there you have it. There's our show for you today, man. And I told you it was going to be cram-packed, and it was, hey, like I said, at the Los Angeles level, with the way the 4 rookies played, it was my favorite day of the year. Some great action at the minor league level as well. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. Won't be a show on Sunday. I'm going to the Drillers game tonight. Will not be ripping video of any of the minor leagues. Taking video of the Drillers Thanks again, Braden Fisher, and to his family for providing me tickets to tonight's game. That is absolutely fantastic. I'm totally fired up. So the next show that you'll see from me is coming Monday morning, and hopefully we're talking about a great weekend, finishing a baseball. It started off great on Friday night as the Dodgers beat the Astros. So make sure and tune in to our next show on Monday. Hope you enjoyed this one. And just one last reminder, if you would like to help by donating, I am investing in a whole bunch of equipment for my field recordings, at least wanting to here in the near future. So if you'd like to help Dodgers Daily by donating, we do have a GoFundMe account, and the link to that is in the description. Just click it and it'll take you right to that GoFundMe for Dodgers Daily. Also, make sure and leave a comment. Tell all your friends, interact with this video. The more you do that, the more it gets suggested, the more it gets seen. And hey, our community at Dodgers Daily is getting better by the day. It is absolutely fantastic, so thank you for that. As always, thanks for tuning in, and go Dodgers beat the Astros again.